Hello and welcome to my channel. Oh, I had to re-download OBS because it wasn't on my computer, probably from the last time that I had to repair, and that's why I haven't been on in a long time. So here we go. We're gonna try this. Hopefully it'll work. Let's go to full screen here. Okay. That. So anyway, yeah, I want to apologize for not being able to do videos for a long time. My usual videos that I do on here. I did do some filler videos. I wanted to show you guys what I do as a person, first who entertains people to help raise money for charity, and that's what if you've seen some of my performance videos where I did it in some bars here in Las Vegas. That's what those videos are from. One of them was from my step down as King of Clubs for 2022, which I stepped down earlier this year from that. And there were some other videos that I think probably from the same. I think from the same bar. I don't think there was different bars because usually our group will go to different bars to do shows. So, but I believe they're all from the same bar. Anyway, again, like I said, I want to apologize for not being able to do videos for you guys for a long time. I have been so behind on everything I know, and I really apologize for that. Part of the problem was having to having to get my desktop computer repaired so many times, and I had some problems with it. And then there was other things. I had so many other things going on in my life that kind of delayed all my work for recording these videos for you guys. But other than that, I want to thank everybody for sticking around, being a subscriber to my channel. I really appreciate it. We're still at 160, I believe, subscribers, and it kept going up and down, like 170, 160, or lower. People coming and going, whatever. And I don't know what the reason for that was, and I'm not going to speculate because it is what it is. So I really appreciate, want to say I really appreciate you guys sticking with me, being a subscriber on my channel. Really appreciate it. I want to encourage you all again to please go to my Patreon account and become a Patreon contributing member. There are 3 tiers. I've went in there and I recently changed 2 of the tiers. I still have the $3 budget tier. That's $3 a month. I think that's pretty affordable. $3 a month, to become a member, and it's also for people that are underage. There's no that I can't show adult content on that page. I had to set two other tiers aside for adult content. One I call More Nuts tier and Extra Nuts tier. The More Nuts tier, I lowered it down from $9 to $5. It's now down to $5. That's $5 a month to become a member of that. Or you can become a member of the Extra Nuts tier. I lowered it down from $25 to $10 a month. It's $10 a month to become a member. Remember, everything that all the money that comes into in there from members, you members that join, goes directly to charity. I don't see a penny of it. It just goes directly to charity. This is why I do this. I'm trying to raise money for a charity. So far, nobody has joined my Patreon, but I would really appreciate it if you could. I mean, I can understand if you can't afford it. I understand that you don't have the means to do it. I can understand that. But for those of you who can, I really, really appreciate it. And the community of charities would really appreciate it because it would go to some great charities to help out with the community. Because this is what I do. I do this to raise money for charity, and that's why I'm in this. I'm going to continue to do recordings regardless if I get members on my Patreon or not. I'm still going to keep doing this regardless. I still encourage everyone to join my Patreon if at all possible. I mean, I can't stress, why you should, because, I mean, it's obvious. It's for the community. It's for the community of charities. But anyway, all setting aside everything else, I'm going to try to get started here. I was able to go and ask JB Patch, I believe that's the name of the creator of Our Life Begins in Noise, how to get to the next part of the Memories DLC for Derek. So JB Patch, if you guys are watching this video, thank you so much for your advice. It really helped. I got to the next level, so we're gonna start from there. Okay, and that's where we're going right now. We are still doing the new next Derek Moments Step 4 DLC. So, let's see. Since you're romantically interested in Derek and are old enough to start being physically affectionate more seriously, you can choose what initiative level he has throughout the step. And yeah, I already done that. I put it to where my reaction to him would be I'm on a relaxed and in love with him at this point. Before it was I had a crush on him. So now we're trying to get step forward with our relationship. We're trying to get it going. We haven't seen him in a long time, and we finally got to this moment. So let's go. Make sure the player experiences what they want is important in our life, but always putting your choice first can potentially make relationship feel one-sided. I don't like reading these tutorials, but I'll just post them up here. You can read them yourself. I'll go slowly as I possibly can so you can read it. It's just a lot to read, and I really didn't want to go that this part of it, but I had to get to a certain starting point for the next DLC moments for Derek. Also, to let you guys know, I haven't gotten to buy the DLC for the Baxter DLCs yet, but I'm working on that. And once I do, I'm going to be doing that eventually too after I finish the DLC for Derek. So let's keep going here. I'll keep putting up the tutorial so you guys can read it. It just basically tells you what you can do. For example, you won't simply lean over and kiss the main character. That's your character, of course, my character at this point. Um, as a greeting or emotional moment. Okay. So just keep posting that stuff up here. You guys can read it. I'm gonna read all of it. Excuse me for all the coughing. I do have asthma, so sometimes I cough a lot. So sorry for that. Try to get something to drink here. Yeah. Like I said, it's just a tutorial part of it. So we'll just keep skipping to it a little bit. Try not to go too fast so you guys can kind of read it. I hope I'm not going too fast for you guys. Try not to. Okay. Which initiative level would you like Derek to have for step 4? I'm going to go high initiative on this one. Because we want him to feel the same way that we're trying to feel for him at this point. We want it to be high. Not low, not medium, but high. And so, your days growing up in the loving cradle of Sunset Bird came to an end. In the years that passed since graduation, you moved out of your childhood home and made your own way into the world. Shoot. I'm going to be right back. Okay, I read the last line, so let's keep going here. Back. Now I'm back here. Okay, this is where I'm at. You lived alone, you lived with a pet, you lived with pets, you lived with Cove and his fish. No, we're not with Cove anymore. We lived with, well, at least not in this moment anyway. We've already done the Cove moments. So, we're past that. Let's see, lived with Cove, his fish, and pet. I'm going to say live with pets. Most likely I would have a dog and a cat, probably. Because I like both. And you. Let's see what kind of thing we would be doing. Worked in a fine company, had a business of your own, co-owned business with Cove. Had multiple ways of earning income. still pursuing education. I think I would probably go ahead and co-own a business with Cove. I mean, we'd be friends, but we'd be co-owners to a business. I mean, after all, his father co-owned a business with a friend that's is Derek's father. Derek's father, he's co-owner of the business that Co's dad is working at, basically. So they're both co-owners of a business, and I'm sure you guys, if you remember seeing that, it's in some of the past videos from the Cove moments. So you can always go check that out on my channel, my video channels, all the videos that I've recorded, basically. So I'm gonna go ahead and click co-own business with Cove. In the what kind of industry? What kind of industry would me and him be into? Stanfield. I don't know what the heck that is. Music industry, art industry, fashion, writing, TV and movie industry. That would be interesting. Sporting industry, gaming industry, hospitality industry. How about hospitality industry? I mean, we could like own like a restaurant or a catering service. I don't know, something like that. So yeah, let's do that. Your families went through the same kind of leaps into independence. Liz and Lee both eventually earned degrees and started fantastic careers in new towns. But your mom's and Cove's father lived on the same street as they had for all those years before. It was comforting to you that there were some things that remained in the old neighborhood. And despite the ever-changing reality of your adult life, your friends were still your friends, though of course things weren't exactly the same for them either. Very recently, Terry publicly came out as a man and switched the spelling of his name to use a Y instead of an I. Oh yeah, because that's what happened in the Cove moments. Basically, she went transitioned to a male. So yeah. So yeah, let's keep going. He also confessed his love for Miranda, which she exactly reciprocated. They moved in together recently in the city out past Sunset Bear. Oh, that's nice. I'm glad they two got together, and now Terry's happy with who he is because he's a he now. So yeah. One person who did disappear into the shuffle of memories inside your mind was Baxter. After his vacation in Sunset Bird one year, he was just gone. Well, that's to be expected. I mean, he probably had to go finish his college degree, whatever he was doing. I know in the Cove moments, he becomes a one of those type of persons who helps arrange like marriage ceremonies and stuff like that. So maybe he's doing that in the same with Baxter moments. We'll just have to see how that goes. So we might get to see him again in the Baxter moments. That was a loss you felt. He had become someone you considered a friend during those days. And then there's what became of the sad little boy you grew up with, Cove Holden. Of course, he was still a very important person in your heart. Yeah, we're close friends. That's about it at this point. Let's see. Cove was a friend you could count on. Cove was your absolute most cherished friend. Cove was your family, and he always would be. I'm gonna go with this one. I'm gonna say Cove was your absolute most cherished friend. I mean, we've been there for him, and he's been there for us. So, yeah, why not? At this point, we're just friends. That's all. Luckily, things worked out for the two of you to still live pretty close by. Fortunately, you and Cove lived in locations far from each other. Now, we'll say we lived close by in the same city, but not necessarily in Sunset Bird, obviously. Yeah. We're not moving in together, but we can live close by. That's fine. He truly thrived in his continued efforts of cultivating loving and supportive relationships with his family and friends. You couldn't say his personality had changed exactly. Instead, it became more refined. Cove was a warm, inviting, considerate man who took the lessons he'd learned over the years to treat the people around him with patience and understanding. That's a good thing to have in today's society, I can tell you that. When Cove eventually developed a picture of the future he wanted to have as an adult, you could see where he was coming from based on his past interest. Cove got a 2-year degree. She worked with you in your shared business, naturally, and worked part-time at OSHA. That was a volunteer thing, of course. OSHA. Orca, I mean. Which is cleaning the beaches of the ocean area. Okay. Helping to educate the public on ocean conservation and participating in shore restoration efforts. Excuse me. I have a little trouble spelling, but sorry about that. I'm doing the best I can. As an adult, Cove also was able to recognize and have diagnosed that he was on the autism spectrum. Yeah, we already figured that out in the original Cove moments, but it didn't affect him who he was as a person, really. It was something that hadn't been noticed by doctors as a child, but he was still the same Cove he always was to you, and he was just glad to understand himself better. Yeah, I can get that. It thrilled you to see how happy and successful he'd grown up to be. Growth and change came for the Suarez family as well. Mr. Suarez continued to run the scuba shop with Mr. Holm. Like I said before, that's from the past Cove moments. They both became co-owners of the scuba shop, which I think was in the mall or something like that. I don't know. But that was about the only consistent that remained. They moved to a new condo in Prism Vista City as their three boys got older and the nest began to empty. The baby of the family, Nicholas, was eventually the only one left at home. George went off to a local college, staying in dorms. Then there was the oldest son, Derek Suarez, who were trying to develop a relationship at this point with. He left the area years ago to attend an out-of-state college on sports scholarships. You kept in touch with him during those days as you had in the past. Derek had since graduated. You were sure he would have success in whatever he pursued. The long-term direction of his career going forward was ambitious to you, but there was still news Derek had been able to share. He was returning to the city where he grew up in, and as always, Derek had a plan. Oh, so we're at the bus station. I don't know if you guys remember this scene. This was the bus station that my main character and Derek went to go back to Sunset Bird and visit with my sister to check on her, make sure she wasn't too, unhappy with her situation, being alone or whatever, But yeah, you can go check that out. Again, that's on my videos. If you want to check back with my Cove moments, it's in there. And you'll find the same bus station, obviously. So, the foggy and scratched glass door of the bus swung open with a gasp of air, allowing you and the rest of the passengers to disembark at your destination. You step from the massive vehicle to Prism City bus station. Crowds of travelers bustled across the concrete floors. Consistent stream of strangers came from hallways, shuttles, and other buses. The station was absolutely packed. It was vacation season. Summer had only just begun, but California heat was already intense. You'd be lucky to even have a single day of your much anticipated trip was under 90 degrees. Arriving was still a great relief. Steaming in the humid bus station. Yeah, steaming in the humid bus station was definitely preferable to baking outside the metal walls of the bus itself. I'm trying to decide what to put on here for choice. Let's see, it was a fairly short ride over, but still. Okay, you had plenty of that already on the long ride there. You'd already had taken a plane to the bus was simply I'm gonna say it was a short trip. There, short ride. Short ride, yeah. Okay. You didn't take your own car because it would have been even more inconvenient. It was too far for you to have driven. No, not if it was close. If it didn't take that long to get there, I don't think that would be the problem. There was no way around the bus ride. You didn't own a car and couldn't drive places yourself. Let's see. You didn't take your own car because it would have been even more convenient. It wouldn't have been too far to drive, I don't think. I'll just say I didn't feel like driving. It'd be like, I didn't feel like driving my car. It's sometimes better to just take a bus to avoid like traffic and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll just say I didn't take the car because it would have been more inconvenient. Yeah. You'd been spending time with Derek. He had his own car. Going into vehicles would make getting around harder, especially in traffic heavy city. Yeah, exactly. It was best to save your car the miles. Yeah, exactly. Not to mention popping the price of gas too. One of your sweaty hands kept a slippy grip on the handle of your rolling suitcase. It was a well-worn piece, frayed at the edges and with an annoying loose wheel on the left side that dared you to try keeping it moving in straight line. Oh jeez, we better do something about that. Better go buy a new suitcase. Jeez, that's terrible. I mean, for real, I have two good suitcases with good wheels on them. So yeah, I would. At that point, I would want to get rid of the old one and buy a new one. That's just me, for real. You had it since you moved out of your mom's house, and now it was returning with you, at least to the general area, since you wouldn't be staying in Sunset Bird. Accommodations were in the city. All you had to do was inform your old friend Derek you were ready to be picked up. And so, in your other hand, your unlocked phone with the contact screen up. You selected Derek's name, saw the last thought he had sent you, and texted him a quick message. Good luck on your trip. Let me know when we come by. I'll be ready for you. Guess you survived the trip. Yeah, right? Okay, I'm just gonna say I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. Hey, I'm here. You scooted closer to the wall, positioning yourself out of the path, but in a place that was still easily visible. It took only a minute to get situated, and your phone was already buzzing with a response. Coming. You cracked a smile at the screen of your cell and the brief message that lit it up. Then you put it away. He'd be there soon. There wasn't much else to do besides watch the tide of people go by and think. Recollections of how you ended up in that spot came to mind. The two of you had consistently kept in touch. He knew what was happening with you and you with him. For the past months, catch-up calls and texts you had with Derek included updates on his process of moving. He decided to head back to the city, at least temporarily, to help his dad with his business and work some things out for himself, for his own future career prospects. Derek kept you in the loop with his house hunting, logistics, victories, and setbacks in making major life transition. It all came together less than a month ago. The Soares family was naturally thrilled to have him there. George already lived near, only 40 minutes away, and Nicholas was still at home, so the whole team could be together again. The biggest brother was just happy to return to his own stomping grounds after all the years of being away. But it wasn't a familiar locale for only it wasn't the familiar locale for only him. Sunsetburg was the next town over. He knew that. So yeah, that makes sense because it's the same bus station we went to before to take a van shuttle to Sunset Park from here. So yeah. Derek's voice played inside hit your head. The animated way he spoke through the phone a few weeks ago was fresh in your memory. He talked about how he'd made it to his new apartment with an extra room and that you should totally come to stay for a while. You'd be able to visit with his brothers and parents and your own parents in your childhood neighborhood, and you'd get to see him too. Finding a hotel in the area was always the biggest problem of coming back home. You had to appreciate the unique opportunity Derek had provided. Yeah, that's huge. You don't have to pay for a hotel. Though, even if he had lived on the opposite end of the country, you would have tried to make it. He meant more to you than just a couch you could crash on. Seeing Derek was your main priority for the trip. You both worked it out so you could be there. Unfortunately, the other good pile of your youths couldn't make it. Cove, Holden, he had pouted a little about not getting to see Derek or return to Sunset with you, but he recovered. Sorry, Cove. Especially because he would be coming later that summer. He simply wasn't able to do it twice in one season. You'd be with Cove then, and Derek would be still in town too. This time though would be bonding time for you and Derek. Definitely, totally. You got to make a build a relationship here, this boy. Looking forward to the trip as much as Derek was. It was going to be amazing time for you. Time you were certain. The whole thing was nerve-wracking, but didn't want to miss the chance. It had been a long time since you been together in person. You wondered what he'd think. It had been a long time since you'd been together in person. You worried what he would think. You changed over the years, but you hoped you and Derek would stay close. I'm gonna go with the first one. You were looking forward to the trip as much as you knew Derek was. I don't know. I mean, I think this would be even more. This is going to be an amazing time for you. This is going to be an amazing time. You were certain. Yeah, sure. Let's go with that one. Why not? Derek was fun over the phone. Being together in the same place would mean more days to remember. Those idle thoughts led to idly checking the time on your phone. It only had been 5 minutes since you sent the text. You put your phone away yet again. It was the grand tradition of being in a bus station, waiting somewhere, checking the time, then looking around. You went back to the third step. Throughout the spacious area, there were plenty of other travelers repeating the exact same process as you. the, Other than the people filling the space, the scene was virtually unchanged since the first time you'd seen it. You could easily recall the exact day that was Father's Day when you were 13. Yep. Exactly what I was thinking, yeah. It's the same place we went to. Excuse me. Dirk had been so thoughtful, inviting you to go over to his house so you wouldn't feel lonely for the holiday. It's not even really a holiday, it's just a weirder day. It's like for fathers or whatever. He didn't make you go through any of it on your own. It wouldn't be much longer until he was by your side again. Just thinking about it lightened your spirits. And then, over the murmur, a bustling crowd, echoing beat pounded through the air. It was the sound of rapid footsteps against the solid station floor. Pushing off from the wall, you scanned the crowd for the source. It didn't take a spy champion to notice the man in a bright sleeveless sweatshirt. Sweatshirt? Squinting towards the bus landing area like he was about to miss the last ride of the day. But he didn't have a map, bags, or ticket in hand. He wasn't there to go anywhere else. He had someone to see. He had somebody to see. Yeah, me. Hello. My character. And that was you. Yeah. Dirk had made it. He does look gorgeous in this one. I don't even know how to take a picture of this thing. I haven't figured out how to do pictures on this for F12, F11. Yep, there it goes. It took it. I think it took a picture of it. Okay. He neared the drop-off spot while shivering, swiveling his hand when his gaze fell on you over the side. His mad dash abruptly came to a stop. Derek was a solid rock in the middle of a slow-moving river of unfamiliar faces. He'd grown so much. A sparkling grin broke through the stillness that the part of him hadn't changed. 10 years older, but with just still as much boyish charm as ever. Did I take a picture? I'm not sure. Okay. There. I'm forgetting which one I was supposed to push for pictures. I'll have to figure that out later. Did I ever read this part already? Just in case. A sparkling grin broke through the stillness. That part of him hadn't changed. 10 years older, but with just as much boyish charm as ever. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna go with this one. You rushed to Derek and jumped into his arms. With your suitcase rattling behind you, you push through the crowd. I don't know if that took a picture or not. Oh, it's F2. Okay, F12. All right. Now I know. Derek turned on his heels to change the trajectory of the path. He took bonding strides too close to the rest of the distance between you and him. The moment you were upon the abandoned bag leaped at Derek.
Whoa!
He caught and held you with expertise of someone who had years of practice with clingy little brother. Though the way he snugly against you wasn't at all the same kind of embrace he would have give to Nicholas. Obviously, because Nicholas is his brother. And between my character and him, we're getting to that relationship point in our life right now. We're going to get a relationship going with him. A love relationship. That's what we're going for. You hugged him back tightly, taking in his physical presence for the first time in ages. It was a wonderful start to the reunion. Then he set your feet safely back on the ground.
It's been a while, huh?
Sup, Chippy? It's been a while, huh? Yeah, I'll say. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I'm back. Okay. With the man himself right in front of you, it was possible to uh, praise him fully. It struck you that for the first time you didn't have to look down to see his face. Somewhere along the way, Derek had grown to match you in height. Yeah, he's gotten quite tall, obviously. I mean, back when he was our same age as us, he was like short. Okay. Way too long. Derek's back. That was what his brother Nicholas would say. Okay. I'm gonna go with I've missed you. Yeah.
I missed you.
I missed you too. There we go. Now we gotta get our screenshot. Cool. It's good to see you, guy. Derek watched you so gently with his words. Couldn't ring anything but true. Setting his eyes on you was something he was grateful he could do. And hearing him call you by that long-term moniker really brought it home that you were well home. Same to you, Derek.
You ready?
Nice. You ready to go? Got all your stuff? Yeah, let's go. Yeah, it's only the suitcase. Which way are we going? That way. You mean out to where the cars are parked, right? Derek rubbed the back of his head, and his immense chair chipped away just a bit. Do you mind having to take a stroll? I didn't bring the car. My place is about 15 minutes walk from here, and parking is wild. Okay, so he didn't bring his car, but he's not. His place is not too far. It's like 15-minute walk. Okay. Recording. Give me a moment. I gotta do something. People just want to disturb me while I'm trying to record. Sorry about that. Yeah, I forgot to put a sign on the door. Okay, sorry about that. I got the sign up now, so. Would have had to park 20 minutes away just to find something outside of the apartment's reserved spot. Oh, reserved spot. Okay, excuse me. That's one thing about this place I don't miss. You think with a bus terminal there would be a place to park, right? Unless it's like packed or something. He let out nary chuckle, still awkwardly scratching at his hair. So, we're going to have to get in some steps. This is why I took the bus instead of driving. I'm gonna go with this one. Honestly, it would be nice to move around after the bus ride. Yeah, kind of get your legs stretching, make up your legs get moving.
I got you.
I get that. Oh, but you pressed a finger to the tip of your chin, thinking. You got here way sooner than 15 minutes. It was barely more than 5. You plugged it in, that's why. Yeah. He accepted to shrug casually, but a smirk tugged at his mouth.
Well,
It's 15 if you walk. It goes quicker if you run. Yeah, I kind of figured that that's what happened. It just ran here. Especially when you're a fast runner. Like if you're a trained athlete, for example. Yeah, obviously. Derek jumped in place to spread his feet apart and strike a superhero pose like he was still a 15-year-old. Wow, what a hunk. Yeah, I have that exact answer. He is hot. Of course, there's a hot picture in the Derek moments I've noticed. Derek, we're in the Derek moments. We're talking about Baxter now. Baxter when I get to do that, there's a moment where he has his shirt unbuttoned and then he takes his shirt off completely. He's like, oh my god. Oh my god. He's gorgeously hot. But we're going to get to those moments after we finish Derek. Yeah, we're going to finish the Derek moments and then hopefully get to Baxter. Make sure I'll have those DLC paid for before we start doing that. So yeah, he fed off your praise and lifted his head even higher. Totally right. Once again, completely carefree, Derek tilted his head over the way he came. Let's go. There. Take a picture of that moment. You reach down to collect your suitcase, only to gasp at empty air. You glance towards the ground just in time to see it rolling away secretly in Derek's hand. Oh, securely in Derek's hand. A gentleman as always.
You know it.
You got it. Yeah, he's very good with his manners. A lot better than Cove, sort of. I mean, Cove's worst thing was wiping his hands on his pants. Not good. Let's see. Took his free hand, grabbed the corner of the suitcase handle. You stepped beside him. You took his free hand. Yeah. Derek had his plan, and you had your own. You maneuvered to the side and slipped your hand around his.
Oh!
For an instant, he flinched at the touch, but you held firm and he eased into it. I see how it is. I'm pulling the bag, but you're pulling me. Yeah, if you want to put it that way. Actually, I'm just holding your hand. We're holding hands as we go. Yep. I can never beat you. You and Derek left the station side by side and made your way through the vast city. He pointed out a towering building. Amongst the skyline in the distance, it was sparkling and new. It had to be at least 10 floors. That's where you were going. Oh, high-rise apartment, huh? Having such an obvious landmark to work towards was convenient. You weren't familiar with that part of the city. The condo where the Soros family used to live was further away from the station. Yeah, I remember we did have to take a bus from his place, from his family's place, place to the bus station. and then transferred to the van shuttle. So yeah. It was certainly very different from Sunset Bird. You easily knew every corner of the town and could go from end to end on foot. But you continued along the certain that you'd make it to your destination. Derek's pace wasn't too fast or too slow. He was conscious of the connection between you and wasn't going to jerk you around. Derek chattered lightheartedly as your thoughts were drifting along. It felt completely natural being there with him. He didn't struggle to let you into his world. There was a place he'd left open and waiting for you. Derek Sawyers, his name rang in your ears. Years you cherished him even more until you couldn't imagine life without him. When you saw him again, you had been hit with the realization you loved him. Oh yes, we're gonna go with that one. Being near him was exciting to you in ways it wasn't before. Your heart was pounding. The joint through the city breezed by. There was so much to catch up on. Even though you didn't sprint, the 15-minute walk still felt much closer to 5. I gotta check something. Give me a moment here. Window. Check the volume. Check the volume. This thing. Hello. Okay, yeah, it's working. Mr. Volume can go up a little bit. There we go. Alright. There's that. Just check on the volume. Okay. There we go. Let me get back to it. Okay, we already read this part. When you arrived at the ground floor of the skyscraper Derek lived in, he showed you right up. At his front door, Derek fished a key from his sweatshorts. He swung the key on the silver loop around his finger and joked about his near disaster from earlier that day. He'd run straight out of his house once you texted, and he'd already hit the button on the elevator when he realized his apartment was left unlocked. Ooh, you better go back and lock your house if that happened. Derek had to bolt back down the hall as the elevator arrived, lock the door, and make it back to the other end before the elevator closed. But he'd made it. Good for you, Derek. You quipped that being on such a high floor really came in handy. The elevator had a long way to go and give him more time. Derek nodded with a laugh. Welcome to my house. It's a nice place. There we go. Take a picture. Derek's apartment was a modern but still cozy space and completely spotless. A balcony wrapped around two walls of the abode. Through the crystal clear floor to ceiling windows, you could see the ocean. Oh, that's right. I guess part of the beach or ocean comes through this part of the city where he lives, all the way from, and it leans all the way down to Sunset Bird, of course. Same ocean, part of the ocean, beach, whatever.
What do you think?
It's looking good already, huh? Yeah, I would say. Too bad I didn't put any of it together. It came furnished. That's nice. None of this is yours? Nah. I didn't have a lot of important stuff in my old place. Nothing worth bringing all the way over. And who knows how long I'm gonna be here. Getting new things didn't sound like a great idea. We'll see what happens long term. I might stay longer than I think. Certainly hope so. Still, at least for now, a prehab apartment it is. I'm gonna say it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Thanks. Glad you think so. You're living here too, for a little while at least. Who knows? We might even move in together. Think? I mean, if we're going for a deep love relationship, then we obviously are going to be moving in together. Derek cast his gaze over the room like he was meeting a friend. It had made a good impression on you, and that had him standing proud.
So...
But he cut himself off and focused his attention back on his actual guests. You can have my spare key while you're here, and I'll show you your room, so you can put this away before we get distracted. That was said while Derek lifted up the suitcase he insisted on carrying. I'm going to take a picture. There we go. That'd be great. You were led towards the narrow hall at the side of the apartment and stopped right at the front door in the path. You'd arrived already. Okay, I'm going to check on something real quick. The windows, right? Okay. Yeah, it's still recording. Okay. Alright. Go full screen, and we'll go back. You were led towards the narrow hall at the side of the apartment and stopped right at the first door in the path. you'd arrived already. Derek opened the room for you, holding the door until you passed through. You entered your temporary bedroom. He followed you inside, still tugging the suitcase behind him. Nice room. Take a picture. The furniture was a perfect match to the living area. It was easy to see that it had come as a full set. Derek set the bag up against the corner of the bed to keep it out of the way.
Oh, man!
Man, it's incredible that you're here, especially now. George and Nico are both on summer vacation. They're super looking forward to see you. Can you believe they're gonna be juniors next year? I thought Nico was still in high school or going to go to college eventually. George is already in college. So. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that story goes. I don't know. I know Nico's still living with the parents. George for college and Nico for high school. Okay, obviously, yeah. He's still in high school. Nico's still in high school. Okay. So at this point, I guess he's a junior in high school, which he's got one more year to go before he graduates out of high school. He spoke with affectionate enthusiasm. We used to babysit them, and now they're practically scholars. Yeah, things change, people change. Not to mention the fact that George outgrew me. Not bad. I bet in a couple more years Nicholas will too. So much for being the big brother. Hey, it happens. It happens. It was a blow to Derek, but he took it in the chin and snorted in good humor. Let's see. You always be their big brother, no matter how tall they get. George might have to more height, but there's no way he beats muscle size. I'm gonna go with this one. I can't wait to see that. You won't be kept in suspense much longer now. It was a ponderous thing, hearing about other people getting older and progressing in life. Little George and Nicholas had grown up so much, but in the same number of years had passed you, and you were older than them, obviously. So is Garrett at this point. He's the same age as us. Our main character, obviously. You were an adult with a business and a place of your own. You achieved more than you had hoped for. You were doing just as well as you aspired to. Things were going alright so far. optimist, and as far as we're concerned, no. You didn't know how complicated. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the first one. You achieved more than you had to hope for. You had really matured and embraced adulthood, but you still felt like you were a teenager rather than a real adult. I'm gonna go with the first one. It was hard to imagine when you were a kid, but it came naturally when the time was right. A pause had formed before you realized it. You blinked and brought your mind back to the present. Dirk offered an understanding smile, but and then spoke to give a different type of offer.
So?
Want to see the rest of the apartment? I'll give you a tour. Sure, why not? Yeah, that'd be great. You casually went through the still open bedroom door and Dirk shut it behind you. The grand tour of Derek Sawyer's locale was started immediately. You got to see the scenic guest bedroom with all the amenities, and he showed off the vast end of the hall with a closed door. Anything could have been beyond this point. Your helpful guide informed you it was his bedroom. Isn't it crazy having the master bedroom at the end of the hall? Sometimes I still look down there and think that's gonna be my mom and dad's room. Why? You moved out. I mean, you got your own place. Come on. And they still have their own place. You're moving up in the world. You and Derek strolled back into the main section to explore the dining area and kitchen. He described the treasures hidden inside each cupboard, and you even got to check inside the fridge. It was difficult to pretend the contents were part of some tourist adventure experience. The only things there spread out sparingly among the shelves were water balls, colorful sports drinks, a jug of 2% milk, and a box of salad greens, and a few containers of some kind of packed meals. Derek awkwardly cleared his throat, feeling as if he needed to explain the sight in front of you.
Oops.
Oh. I didn't have much in stock right now. I usually eat at my parents' place or get takeout. I'm on vacation, sort of. Working vacation. But I should change that, especially now that there's somebody else here. Oh, you mean me? Yeah. He swung his arm to the side to close the fridge, but yanked it back a crack before it shut. The bottles in the door clattered? Yeah, clattered. Oh, do you need water or anything to drink? I at least got that. try one of those sports drinks you got.
Leave it to me.
Got you. Derek snugged his arms. Yes, snugged his arms through the opening and pulled out a chilled, bright blue sports drink. He closed the fridge for real and straightened out his stance. He accepted the bottle from his hand. The sightseeing moved back into the living room. From there, his fun tidbits there were about which switch turned on which light and how to turn on the fan. And here's the last stop. With a flourish, he pulled open the sliding door and led out to the balcony. Cool. Derek gestured once more to the wide open door. After you were losing track of how many doors he'd opened for you already, but you walked through the last one into the sizzling summer air. The view was more breathtaking than you'd realize from the living room. You could see for miles the sea, sprawling city, and rolling hills behind that. Neither of you spoke for a moment. Derek moved past you and leaned against the railing. He stared out into the vast world ahead of him. Rested against it too, next to Derek. You rested against it too, a little ways away from Derek's spot. You went to stand next to him. You went to stand next to him. He didn't flinch. Derek welcomed your presence with ease. This was the part I was the most into about the apartment. Whatever place I got, I knew it had to have a balcony. Even in a smile, one would have been fine. But this is amazing. Feeling settled, you sipped at the refreshing sports drink Derek had given you. He pitched his shoulders up and sent a grin your way.
All right.
So, that's it. The whole place, unless you actually wanted to see inside my room. The suggestion was given with a coy brow raised and a low laugh. was looking forward to seeing your room, you joked. Yeah, maybe later. I'll take you up on that. Maybe we can sleep together. Derek pushed himself up from the bar to stand at his full height. This is such a perfect time. This is such perfect timing. We're both gonna be in town for Father's Day tomorrow. Again, another Father's Day event, huh? No, you don't have to worry about me. We already talked about that in a past moment, so yeah. That was right. You'd been present to spend the holiday in person with the Soros family. Again, Father's Day is not really a holiday. It's just another day to celebrate fathers, I guess. Just like there's a Mother's Day, but that's not a holiday either. It's just another day. It's a day to celebrate mothers. Is what it is. It's not like you get time off for that or something, from work, or whatever, He only ever stopped being this for that day because you moved. You used to spend that day celebrating with Mr. Holden until you moved away. You hadn't attended a Father's Day event since that first time. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the last one. You hadn't attended a Father's Day event since the first time. But you made a habit to call Mr. Soros to wish him a happy Father's Day. You made a habit to call Mr. Holden to wish him a happy Father's Day. Ben, you made a habit to send Father's Day cards to Mr. Soros. But you made it a habit to send Father's Day cards to Mr. Holden. Why couldn't I just wish them both happy Father's Day? Come on. Since then, yeah, I'm just gonna go with the last one. Since we can't, it's not letting us do both. I mean, why can't we just tell them both happy Father's Day? Come on. It doesn't give us that option, so. Actually, attending an event again after 10 years would be interesting. Derek spoke up again to elaborate on the plan. I know that's not something you usually celebrate, but my family would love to have you come over for it. Sure, why not? It's not going to be a huge party. It's just going to be my parents' place to hang out. You don't need a gift either. I got him a tie, but it's not a big deal. Okay, I'll be right back. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the second one. Yeah, that sounds great. That's gonna be great. He read his hands together eagerly.
Phew.
Tomorrow's gonna be a great day. And look at me inviting you to Father's Day directly like a big boy. Sure. Derek was tickled inside and out that he scattered, scratched, scratched it, scratched his cheek and let out a rumbling chuckle. Yeah, scratched his cheek and let out a rumbling chuckle. Sorry. It's amazing, Derek. I'm proud. Thanks. His gaze swept over the city once more as his mind began to wander away from where his body was planted on the balcony. Man, it's insane how much time has gone by. It's been, what, 10 years since we first met? Yeah, pretty much. Since the last moment that we did together, yeah.
Wait.
He whispered the words again with gravity of a long lost spell. 10 years? It's been 2 years since that first summer we spent together? Yeah. I know, huh? Derek's voice deeds sped up faster and faster. He ran a hurried hand through his short hair, stumbling back from the railing. Oh, wait. Hold on. He couldn't face you anymore. Derek stared hard at nothing with his jaw clenched. It felt impossible then, but it happened. We actually became adults. Time's up. You've been waiting for that. Light bulb suddenly went on in your head. You realized what he likely just did to you. You waited for him to explain, entirely clueless about what he meant. No, he couldn't have forgot our promise. No, I don't think he could have. Hopefully. I mean, even though it's been 2 years, I don't think he'd forget that promise. He finally realized it. You'd been waiting for that. It took him long enough. You never forgot what 10 years meant. Derek's face darkened, mainly in the cheek area. He was full of uneasy energy that came out as a constant shifting in position of his feet.
Oh, man.
That's awkward, huh? I really hadn't planned this out as well as my teenage brain had thought I had. It was true. Time was up. And you and him were an entire decade older than you were then. And more than that, you had gone from being barely older than children to being adults. Derek had graduated high school and college. He had a car, a place of his own, and probably had student loans. It was just as imagined a 13-year-old, and it was at this point that he intended to compete, complete his vision of growing up dumb and marrying you. Oh, we better get married in this one. I mean, we've come so far to get to this moment. Come on. And you both joked about the whole thing. Into the serious conversation about the deal. It made you nervous that you didn't want things to change. You wanted to be with him, and it had nothing to do with that deal. Well, that was part of it. You really, really hoped Derek wanted to be with you for reasons other than that deal. I mean, the deal was part of it that made the deal. I don't know. Do with that deal. The deal's part of it. Really hoped Derek wanted to be with you for reasons other than that deal. I wonder if I should just save it. And then, yeah, I'm gonna do that. Put that there. Go back. Okay. You really hoped Derek wanted to be with you for reasons other than that deal. Even though the deal did have part of the reason we made that deal, so I mean that's part of it. So, but there should be more to it than that. Just the deal. What did he think of you, really? He picked you out of everyone else as the person he'd marry in 10 years, but it was a backup? Maybe you were only someone worth settling with, or maybe you meant more. If he had asked you to be his boyfriend, you would have said yes, but this was roundabout position wasn't that. This roundabout position wasn't about that. Your intentional back and forth slipped out. In your expression, it looked concerning enough for Derek to smile reassuringly.
I promise.
Look, Chippy, it's cool, I promise. I'm not expecting you to go through with a marriage pact we made when we were still small enough to fit on child rides at the mall. He had read you completely wrong and his attempt to comfort you didn't answer any of the questions nagging at you, but you couldn't demand more. If he wanted to be with you and you alone for real, he'd ask hopefully. 23 is way younger than I imagined. Let's call the whole thing off. What? No. No, we're going back. No. No. We're going back. initiated a serious conversation about the deal. Derek, what do you want to do now? Truthfully, I'm considering it. I'm really sorry. I can't go through with something like that.
I.
He shut his mouth. He blinked. He thought he settled. He stalled. Excuse me. Derek had suddenly been dropped into a game where he didn't know if the person in front of him was on the same team or opposite side. Ultimately, he made a safe play and kept the ball in the middle of the court. I'd be as serious about this as you are, whatever that means. Good to hear that, at least. What does that mean? I'm pretty serious. We plan to be together. Come on, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the second one. I'm pretty serious. We plan to be together. So, let's do it. If he wouldn't make his standing clear, then you would. Dirk gasped like this was methodical. Sort was full impact. And you nailed him straight on.
So.
Well then, if you didn't think it's totally stupid, we agreed to that deal because we thought we'd be good together. Maybe we should see if that's true. Yeah. We could date. We could do more than that, honey. We could do a lot more than that. But if you want to go out and date before we get married, come on. Take me out to dinner, wine me, dine me, dance with me. Let's do it. His tempted words, shaky expression, and uneasy stance were a perfect reflection of the boy who first suggested the plan. Just to see how it goes, right? Because we have that deal. The long list of questions was punched by one a single definitive statement. I'd be up for trying. Yeah, we're still kind of fiancé. Yeah.
No way!
Yeah, they. That flash of disbelief was immediately eclipsed by a wholehearted cheer, loud enough that it might have been heard on the balconies of the next building over. Then it's a deal, or it's still the deal. We're on a mission to figure out if the plan was a horrible mistake or not. Brimming with confidence, Derek held his hand out towards you in the exact same way he had almost exactly 10 years ago. And of course, I'm gonna kiss him. Duh. You kissed him on the lips instead. You weren't going to break the tradition and move right past the hand he offered. Instead, press your lips gently against his. Somehow he repeated the gesture, still surprised him. When you pulled away, he was left gawking at you. Derek was even more starstruck than Nicholas, watching his favorite big brother do a cool soccer stunt. You were miles away from the old playground, and so much had changed for you and him. For you and for him. But the promise you'd made together was officially reaffirmed. Derek's fingers dusted down past the sides of his mouth as if touching it too jerkily would wipe away lingering sparks of affection. It meant something to him. You weren't simply romantic backups for a hypothetical future. In the present moment, you were two people who were dating each other. That was hard to believe, but Derek's brilliant smile was there, directed right at you, and you knew that Derek never lied. It was real.
You doing okay?
Hey, so how tired are you after all that traveling? Because I was thinking, well, if you want, we could go visit our families now. His enthusiasm was palpable, and you felt ensured by his sparkling green eyes. I know we're going to see them tomorrow, but there's no law saying we have to wait till then. That ideal had you re-energized and ready to hit the road again. The corners of your mouth curled into a grin. Count me in. Awesome.
Oh!
Oh, but wait. Are we telling people about our deal? Derek crossed his arms. You could tell that he was trying to stay cool, calm, and collected, but it was obvious that he was anxious. We might be getting married in a few months after all. My family is going to be so blindsided. They have no idea I asked you to be my husband when we grew up. Sure. If you were single, of course, and still interested, you get what I mean. I didn't tell my moms about that either. Not yet, anyway. It'd be best to keep the family out of it until we have an answer. We should let everyone know about our great plan at this point. Sure, why not? Better they know now, right? Yeah, why keep them in the dark, right? They might figure it out eventually anyways. It was clear that the reality of the situation was starting to sink in, and Derek awkwardly laughed. He steadied himself by taking a deep breath.
I got you.
That's fair. So, what are the chances they think this plan is just as great as we do? It'll be a surprise, that's for sure, but they'll be thrilled for us once the shock wears off. Right.
Leave it to me.
I'm gonna call my parents and let them know what's up. I know they'll be there. I'll see about getting in touch with George too. If we're lucky, we might get a full house. His mouth cracked into a fond smile. This'll be quick. You won't even miss me. Or maybe you will. I wouldn't mind that. You teasingly shooed him away. I won't be able to if you don't go and get to it.
Right.
True. Satisfied, Derek pulled his phone out and brought it to his ear. He began to walk away in preparation for the talk. Since he was with that, you decided to return to your guest room. You considered freshening up by changing. Tapping your fingers on top of the bag, you circled through options in your mind, but nothing felt right. Eventually, you settled on using the bathroom and splashing some water on your face instead. As you crossed the apartment, you peeked over at Derek. Sorry. There was no way that you could know what was being said, but he shot you an exaggerated thumbs up. You took that as a strong sign that all was going well. Hoping excitedly, you gave him 2 thumbs up back. You couldn't wait to get going. It wasn't very long before your visit was properly arranged. The calls were ended, and you were leaving the apartment behind. Derek hesitated at the door and tapped the bottom of his lip. He was double checking his mental checklist, but that was resolved in short order. You both stepped out into the hall, and this time he remembered to lock the door before he dashed down the hall. Hopping into his car, you promptly took off. The drive was lively. You spent it taking turns telling each other new stories about your families and your latest personal adventures. Thanks to slowing moving traffic, it was a 20-minute drive to reach his parents' new place. Derek pulled in automatically and noted how lucky you were that this condo had guest spots. Nodding along, you followed as he enthusiastically showed you the way. Derek knocked softly but not loudly on the door. They knew you were coming. It didn't take long. It didn't take you by surprise when the door almost immediately opened. Miss Torres joyfully greeted you both. Hi, welcome home. Without a second thought, she wrapped her oldest in, into her arms. Derek gladly hugged her back with some vigor. Hey, Mom.
Good to see you.
It's good to see you. And Chippy, too. She ushered you two inside, and you got your first look around. The Soras had moved there a couple years ago, but you never gotten to visit it until now. It was still just as homey and comfortable as their old apartment. When you traveled further inside, you spotted Mr. Soares sitting at the kitchen table with a chilled drink. He took a slow, drawn-out sip, and then he placed the cup down and got up to join everyone else. He stood in front of you like you were a newly arrived audience, pointed at his wife and tattled. I guess tattled. I guess whatever. Mom made me promise to get the door. She wanted to be the one to answer. Miss Soares was unapologetic and owned up to her actions entirely. She went over to her husband and soothingly rubbed his back. Soothingly rubbed his back.
Thank you.
Thanks for being such a good sport about it. Of course, but I get to have my greeting now. Doing exactly as he promised, Mr. Soares turned from his wife to you and Derek, the two guests in his home. He pushed his glasses higher up his nose. Hello, kids. I'm happy you came early. I couldn't ask for better visitors. I love your new place. As you spoke, you waved. As you spoke, you held your hand out to shake. As you spoke, you hugged them as you spoke. Okay. Yeah, let's go for a hug. After all, they're going to be our family soon. In-laws. One after another, you squeezed Mr. and Miss Soares into a big home. Their new condo already felt like home to you. Thank you, Chippy. As much as we loved our old one, we are quite happy with our current abode here. It's been treating us well. Derek clapped his hands together, and you couldn't help but smirk. The image reminded you so much of his mom trying to bring older to her rambunctious sons. And speaking of...
So,
where are the bros? It's the same as always. You arrived first. It made sense that you had beaten George there. He had to rearrange his day on the fly to make it. But why wasn't Nico there? Your eyebrows raised in surprise. You didn't have to ask for an explanation. Miss Suarez grabbed it in intentionally over dramatic tone. That's my question each day. Nico is never home with me anymore. Now that school's out, he travels into the city as soon as he gets up and only comes back in the evening for dinner. You know, he's older. He wants to get out and see things and be with friends and stuff. That's to be expected. You know, he's getting older. Mother's gloom over her baby growing up was giving its silver lining by the father.
Yes.
He's independent. Yeah, I get that. It happens.
Maybe.
He is usually, but Miss Suarez held her cell phone up and her lips curled into a mischievous grin. She added a wink when she shifted her attention to you. I might have sent a text that you were coming by. I'm sure that'll get his attention. He'll get his butt back here sooner rather than later for a change. Right? It struck you then by Derek's understanding that tone that none of this was news to him. They were explaining Nico's habits for your sake. The whole family was polite as they were perceptive. Since we've got time, why don't you show Chippy the condo?
Let's go.
I was about to suggest the same thing. What do you think, Chippy? Want to take a tour? Sure. Miss Suarez's delight was evident. She endearingly looped her arm through yours to lead you directly. Similarly to what Derek had done earlier that day, his parents led you through the highlights of their new home. Miss Suarez partly listed all the amenities complex offered outside as well. Derek leisurely followed along behind the group, loosely listened to the fact list. He had a few notes to add here and there. Sometime later, a phone interrupted the conversation with a loud ding. Oh, sorry, that's me. He partly shifted the phone out of his loose pocket and checked for any important news. He beamed vigorously and let his phone slide back into depths.
Nice!
George is here. And with good timing, the tour was complete. Let us go meet Junior. The current group left the hall behind and crowded back into the living room, ready for the party to grow in size. As you got there, you heard a firm and even paced sting of knocks on the door. Mr. Suarez eagerly shouted over the sound.
Ha!
My turn.
All right.
That's fair. Fair. Fair's fair. Cheerily, Mr. Suarez joined off the swung of the door wide open, knowing that his middle son was on the other side. Oh, really? Yeah, I was growing up. And he was, although George Jr. Soros was hardly a junior anymore. George had not only grown taller than his big brother, but he was towered over his parents. Their jaw would have been on the floor if Derek hadn't mentioned this earlier. Still, from the neat, sandy brown hair, his calm expression, and relaxed stance, you knew he was still the same boy you knew as a kid. George also remained placid, persistent in his rambunctious family. They cheered at his arrival, and he smiled sweetly.
Hello.
Hello. I hope I didn't keep you waiting. Welcome home, Junior.
Don't worry about that.
You didn't take long at all. You get the whole family there, except for Nico's not there. Derek struck when George was distracted by their parents. He hooked an arm around his brother's neck and pulled him close. George hugged Derek to his side. So, Derek's already here, huh? Yeah, I am. Never would have guessed that. The brothers let go and gave each other one last shove. George went over to you next.
Hey.
Hey, Chippy, it's been a while. I'll say. I'm so proud you've grown into such a responsible young man. You open up your arms for a hug. Stunned, he could only let out a nervous chuckle. He awkwardly stepped forward and quickly hugged you back. It's good to see you. You noticed the remaining ridges left from George's frame. He snagged a drink from the kitchen and settled in. He was joined there by the others. He recounted his day so far. Eventually, you all heard a distant sound of the doorknob jingling and then turning. No knocking was required for this one. Oh yeah, Nico. There was only one person who could have been, who could be. Last to arrive for the gathering, and the last to have been born. Nicholas. The door popped open with a swish, and you saw that you were undeniably right. I wonder with it, I wonder with his looks if he's actually like thinking of being trans from the way he looks, with his clothing and everything. I mean that would be cool. I would totally accept him regardless. I respect everybody's whoever you are. If you're gay, bi or trans or whatever, you know. I mean, it's cool. I myself, for real, I am gay. So, I mean, I learn. You have to kind of respect everybody for who they are. You know, that's the way I look at it. It was Nico, but his appearance had your brows pinching. He was extremely different, yet seamlessly so familiar to the tiny 6-year-old you had met him as. Somehow his hair managed to be even wilder than when he was an elementary school kid. But besides that, he'd become a young man despite continuing to be a baby in your mind's eye. He was sporting a colorful rainbow romper that was fashionable as it was functional, as well as his iconic hair clips to round out the mix of old and new. I gotta take this picture. All three brothers together. Nicholas is back. With a roll of his eyes, Nicholas animatedly gestured and held his arms out. You bit back an amused laugh. No shit, I live here. That's not news. News is that Derek and Chibi are back. Yep. He bounced over and managed to secretly lock himself around his big brother's wide chest. Derek wrapped an arm across his brother's shoulders in response. Derek ruffled Nico's long, thick hair before letting him go. It was sweet that the gesture of affection between them hadn't changed, though Derek didn't have to lean down to do it anyway. Hello, son. Thank you for coming. Walking by, Nicholas gave a short wave to his parents and then elbowed George Chumley as his hello. George teasingly retaliated with a poke to his little brother's side. Finally, Nicholas stopped in front of you. Hey, Chibi, welcome back to Casa Suarez. I'm gonna go with this one. You can't be that big. That's illegal. You hug him. He happily welcomed you into his arms. Sorry, Chippy. The law has no power over me. You still couldn't believe how much of him there was now. He was always so tiny in your memories. Now the whole Suarez family plus you was together again, Sir Mr. Suarez immediately looked at his wife and then his sons. He surely hooked his fingers into his belt loops.
That's good.
This is very good, yes. I wonder if everyone here will be coming back tomorrow as well. I think that was the ideal, right?
Of course.
Of course, Dad. Chippy and I are going to be here for sure. I might manage to work it into my busy schedule. Well, we'll all be there. I already can't wait for tomorrow.
Wonderful.
Superb. That's exactly what I wanted to. I waited for exactly what I wanted for the day.
Well,
And you curiously peeked at Derek and watched him shift his feet. A tingling excitement started coming off of him, and you realized that he had what he had in mind. Since we're here, Chippy and I have got to tell you something. Oh yeah, that's right, we're dating. You're in a relationship. See, I knew you'd figure. I knew they'd figure it out, right? Right? They had to figure it out by now. Now you didn't even say anything, Dad.
is that wrong?
What? Is that wrong? We're not aware of what Derek felt about Chippy. Mr. Suarez groaned loudly and hid her face in the palms of her hands. George put his hands on his hips, giving his dad a hard look. Maybe not. We have no idea. Don't steal their thunder before they said anything. I know, right? Of course I do. They figure it out. We don't even say anything. He's right, Giorgio. Let them talk. Mr. Suarez stroked his beard thoughtfully. Oh, sorry, kids.
Go on.
Derek, please keep going. What did you want to say?
Okay.
Yes. I forgot. I said a word. My lips are sealed. Derek shot you a look as the buff apologized and encouraged. He turned back to waiting his eyes and stretched his cheek. Well, Dad was right in a way. His cryptic pause made his family quickly follow. Derek's grin widened teasingly. You reached over and took Derek's hand. Your fingers entangled with his, and it was most natural thing in the world. He gave you a comforting squeeze. Here's the deal. Almost a decade ago, Chip and I promised that we'd get married, and if we were single in 10 years. That deadline is the end of this summer. and we're both single, so we're double checking our compatibility before we might have to tie the knot. Contractual obligations and all that, you know how it goes. Turning away from Derek, you bit down on the bottom of your lip and tried to sniffle a laugh. It was hilarious how absurdly far away 23 had seemed when you were 13. Stunned to silence by that revelation, the Soros family stared at you both.
Why?
Why not simply be together? That's what you wasn't. That is what you wasn't, isn't it? That is what you want, isn't it? The Soros softly swatted her husband's arm.
No more.
Oh, let them be. When she glanced over at you and Derek, she instead clapped with genuine cheer. If that's the plan, I wish you all the luck in the world. Yes, if you are happy, then we are happy. Confusion mortified into support as much as one parent as the other. George, however, was amused by the entire situation. He put the palm of his hand on his forehead.
What?
10 years ago, you asked Chippy to marry you when you were 13? Yeah. Well, sort of. It had conditions and a long timeline. But hey, I never said I was the one who came up with the whole thing. You didn't have to. Who else would have put that together? With a laugh, Derek surrounded George crossed his arms, wearing a pleased smirk.
You've got it.
Yeah, all right. You got me. You're right. You're right about all of it. Well, I hope your well-laid plan works out. Me too. And thanks, George. Actually, thanks everyone for not freaking out. I'm glad my potential fiance comes with good in-laws. Placing a hand over her heart, Miss Suarez glanced at her husband. He matched her tender smile.
Thank you.
We're grateful to have you. We couldn't have dreamed of someone better suited for our Derek. Derek rubbed the back of his neck out of embarrassment, but you caught him peeking at you still. You wondered how you won the romance lottery. Breathing Strider that the hard part was over, it suddenly struck you that someone had been uncharacteristically quiet. The audience had considered the three of the four members Derek family. Nicholas had nothing to say. or nothing he was willing to mention out loud. Before you could pass that observation on to Derek, his subdued expression showed that he was aware. That actually didn't surprise you. He was never the one to ignore his little brother. Nicholas hung behind the crowd. Derek maintained eye contact with him. Since there was nowhere to hide, Nicholas plastered a smile on his face. But he still wouldn't speak. Derek was equally silent. There was something there. He wasn't going to open a can of worms in front of everyone. He looked over and held your gaze instead. His joyfully excitement reunited. You followed Derek's lead and allowed yourself to be happy. There would be plenty of opportunities later to talk everything out with Nicholas. The rest of Derek's family continued to voice their sincere engagement of their relationship before letting the conversation calm down and shift. Things returned to the usual comfort you enjoyed when you were with the Suarezes. Mr. and Mrs. Suarez provided lunch. It was nice for the whole family to be sitting at one busy table. But afterwards, Derek announced that you two should hit the road. I'm gonna get going too. I've still got a class later. Are you serious? We've barely done anything. Sorry, Nico. We gotta take the trip out to Sunset Bird before it gets any later. Fine. Me and George are doing something together and not the Father's Day thing. Okay? Something that's gotta be fun with just us. Sighing affectionately, Miss Suarez shared a look with her snickering husband. Nicholas was going through the iconic parents are uncool teen phase.
Don't worry.
Don't worry, I made sure to have that whole day free. I promised to come over early. Derek tilted his head towards you, silently asking your opinion before agreeing to anything. Okay, that's fine with me.
I swear.
Cool. Got that. We both will both be there. Count on it. We can do whatever Nico wants in the afternoon, and then it'll be Dad's pick in the evening. All right. See you then. And then that settled. Everyone exchange their goodbyes and see you soon. You and Derek left in good spirits. You hopped back into his car, already eager to go home. Sunset Bird was waiting for you. During the drive, you went off a text to let your moms know that you were coming by soon. They knew you were arriving today, but they had no idea when you were going to be free to come see them. Humming to himself, Derek sped down the highway. The city skyscrapers were far behind you in the distance, and there was nothing but rolling hills of green. It was strange to be sitting shotgun with Derek after all the years of friendship, being trapped in that long distance zone. But at the same time, it also wasn't. What was equally stranger was how his presence affected you. Having him there by your side was the most normal thing in the world to you. Soon enough, you began to recognize the landmarks dotting the way to your hometown. Excitement buzzed under your skin. You were ready to get back home. The car flew past the now leaving sign. You rolled down the window to wave at it. Officially, you were finally back in Sunset Bird. It didn't take more than a few minutes to drive through the rest of the town and rolled into the sleepy neighborhood you grew up. Derek parked along the curb, and you both slid out.
Nice work.
We made it safe and sound. Derek leisurely leaned on his car. He looked over the roof at you and lifted a questioning brow. Do you want to see Mr. Holden too? We have time. Sure, why not? Yeah. Eagerly, you glanced over at the Holden house. There was a good chance Mr. Holden would be home. That's a great idea. Thanks. I've known to have them once in a while. So what do you want to do first? See your moms or go check on Mr. Holden? Let's visit Mr. Holden first. If he's not there, then we can try again later after seeing my mom's. And if he's there, there's a chance he might not be when we're done with the other visit. Sounds reasonable to me. Together you crossed the street and walked up to the familiar door. It was still a little odd remembering that the condo was now only inhabited by one single Holden. You rang the doorbell and waited. Luckily, the familiar face of Mr. Holden appeared in the doorway and beamed at you.
Hey!
Hi. Derek gave a big wave at Mr. Holden and returned cheerily until his brain caught up enough to let him speak. Where in the world did you come from? Surprise. You tipped your head back and burst into a deep laugh. When you could breathe again, you pointed your thumb at Derek. He's letting me stay at his place so I could visit.
Come on.
That's great. Come on in. He waved for you two to follow inside. You did, and he glanced back over his shoulder to address you further. So, what can I do for you two today? We were in the neighborhood and just wanted to visit. Mr. Holden took a good look at you and with a wobbly grin.
Aw.
Even after growing into such a successful grown up, you still haven't forgotten your dear old neighborhood. I hope you've been doing well. I have. It's been good. Really good.
How's it going?
Glad to hear that. Your moms, are they doing all right? I haven't actually seen them yet. We're going there next. Oh, could I tag along? I'm sure they wouldn't mind. Why not? I've been meaning to visit them, and it'd be nice to stick with you two a while longer. Yeah, that'd be perfect. Let's move this party across the street then. Nothing else needed to be said after that. The newly arranged group pivoted out the door and strolled right over to your childhood home. Without missing a beat, you located and rang the oddly placed doorbell. Ma unexpectedly answered the door. Her eyes sparkled and landed on you immediately.
Hi.
Hello, sweetie. And Derek, welcome. A few seconds later, she realized that a third less anticipated guest at her doorstep. She tried to bite back her giggles with little success. Oh, and hello to you, stranger. Hey there. The kids swung by and I thought I'd visit you. What a lovely surprise. Come in. Ma stepped aside gravely. She held the door all the way open so everyone could hurry through. Hiya. Heya. Mom's voice rang out from the hall right before she appeared physically in front of you. She excitedly stepped at her wife's side.
Nice.
Ooh, what a great crowd. I'm home. You threw your arms around them both. You threw your arms around both of them. Silently, you pulled them into a big hug. You could feel one of them smoothly rubbing circles into your back. You sure are, kiddo. Derek gently worked his way into the conversation. You didn't miss the way his skin was suddenly a shade rosier than before.
Good to see you.
Thanks, Mr. and Miss and Ms. Prince, for letting me come by, too. It's nice to see you again.
You're fantastic.
You don't need to thank us for that. You can come over anytime. You're an excellent guest.
That's fantastic.
Yes. We need to thank you for giving our Chippy a place to stay. Now, we'll get to visit with him even more this summer. They shared a knowing look with their eyes. All right. a light. They had to be thinking of their big anniversary later in the season. You'd be coming back to Sunset Bird for that. You didn't mind all the traveling, it was worth it. Good point. Happily almost anniversary. Thank you. That's gonna be a night to remember, I'm sure. I bet. We're going to have a nice little shindig at the Cypress. But what's shaking? You've been busy, huh? There was certainly a lot going on in your and Derek's lives, and you had inkling of what was once again coming to mind first for Derek. His body went stiff. It was obvious for that once he was struggling to find what to say. Understandably, Derek wasn't as confident in front of your family as he was with his own. He knew with his own family that he'd be supported unconditionally, but there was an underlying fear that he might not be good enough for this audience. And I'm gonna break the news myself. You wanted Derek to know without a doubt that you weren't the only one here that adored him. Stepping forward, you felt your heartbeat skip. Busy is the word. Derek and I might get married at the end of the summer. Yes, we have. Yes, we have. I'm engaged with strings. Well, the Soros Prince family might unite in marriage if the arrangements are suitable. The truth is that Derek and I kind of made a deal to get married. I'm gonna go with the first one. No, I'm gonna go with the second one. Yeah, I'll go with the first one. Busy is the word. Derek and I might get married at the end of this summer. Your face hurt from how wide you were grinning, but you couldn't stop it if you tried. You shrugged. I know it's a shock, but please trust us. The news had everyone's jaws hitting the floor. You swore you couldn't have heard a pin drop. It went that quiet. Derek tried to elaborate. You knew he was attempting to remain upbeat, but his voice came out awkward.
The truth is,
The thing is, 10 years ago, we said that we would marry each other if we were both still single at this age. So that's what's happening now. We're gonna see how it goes. He managed to end it off in a confident sounding note. Your moms and Mr. Holden blinked at you as a guide to navigate this situation. You held onto the way Derek's family had reacted earlier. That had gone well, basically. You wait patiently, then Mom snorted and pointed at Derek. We clearly underestimated him. Sorry about that. Mom hummed nostalgically. She tried holding back her utter amusement, but was obvious. Even if I hadn't guessed it, it'd be that serious. You arranged a marriage as teenagers? Yep, pretty much. Your moms leaned closer together and giggled uncontrollably, a sign you felt immensely better about the situation. Mr. Holmes' head tilted back and he let out a shaking laugh. He crossed his arms, teasingly raised a questioning brow. Another deal, huh? That old chestnut had become a long-lasting joke between your friends and family ever since it originally came out. Of course, it had to be referenced now. Yep, he got me with one I couldn't let slip by. Derek had no idea what to do with himself now, so he idly combed his fingers through a section of his hair. It's good to be prepared, as I always say. Mom decided to come closer and supportively patted his arm.
True.
That's very true. The two of you are responsible adults. I trust you'll make the best choice for yourselves. I know I'm working on it. It's taking longer than I thought. Good luck, Derek. You shifted your attention to Mr. Holden for his opinion next. He probably gave you a thumbs up.
Absolutely.
The two of you ladies hit the nail on the head. Thanks.
Now.
Come now and tell us about how it all happened. We need the details. The group relaxed and hung out in the living room. Each person shared updates from the past and plans for the future. It went until the sun began to set. At that point, you and Derek decided that it was best to leave sooner rather than later. The end of the visit was accepted with grace. Bye. Thanks again for coming to see us.
Take care.
Tell Mr. Suarez Happy Father's Day for us.
I gotcha.
We'll be sure to do that. Mr. Holden remained in his seat. He had already planned on visiting with your moms a little longer. Take care. It was great seeing you. Bye. With that, you stepped out into the warm embrace of the evening air, leaving the house, going onto the street. It was something you've done countless times. Believing how much the context of that action had changed was hard. you were only on a visit, and your boyfriend Derek Suarez had joined you. A true twist on the story of older days. Derek followed you out, but didn't go to his car. Instead, he stepped into the center of the road and stayed there. His gaze wandered the hill and past that, off into the distance. He spoke with a voice as comforting as the familiar song of the crickets. Hey, before we go, could we stretch our legs a bit? There's one other thing I want to do while we're here. That's no problem. Let's do it.
Thank you.
Cool, thanks. Derek tilted his head in the direction he wanted to go. His mouth hooked into a grin. Then he started strolling. You followed at his side. He gently slipped his fingers around yours, and it made your heart flutter joyfully. Derek moved with wide, carefree strides, and you giggled as your linked hands swung with each step. You found yourself headed outside the residential area of Sunset Bird onto the main street. It had been nice to refamiliarize yourself with the area during the little joint. Derek got a conversation going between you. Well, damn, that went better than I expected. With our families, though, even saying it out loud to them still hasn't made it feel totally real yet. There's no way you're actually dating me, I think. You better start believing in it because it's true. We owe it to ourselves to give this a shot. Derek cracked a smile before letting his gaze fall into the ground. The conversation hung on that note. The walk continued, and you had a good idea where he was going at this point. There was something coming up in the middle of the path, and it wouldn't hold any interest to anyone other than you, Derek, and Cove. For the three of you, it was special. Derek crouched down to the ground right where you accepted. You smiled wishfully at a decade-old inscription. The writing was well worn, but still visible. He slowly placed his finger over the small print he'd left in the concrete as a 13-year-old. He was so much larger than he used to be. His finger completely escaped the tiny mark. Yet he seemed small again to you in that moment. Next, Derek moved to the initials you had made. He dragged his finger tip over to carefully trace it. There was something on his mind that swept him miles away all of a sudden. You had no idea what it could be, and that uncertainty left a sour taste on your tongue. Derek remained transfixed with the concrete and his own initial amusing. Gradually, his frown worsened.
This sucks.
Time is a sucky thing to play against. If you mess it up, that is. Even if you try to turn things around later, you're not getting what you lost back. It's just gone. Go with this one. You should be proud of what you've been able to do. Derek tried to smile at that. It was half-hearted. Thanks, Chippy. I guess I could have done worse. Gentleness softened his expression. He faced you. His voice became sincere. I could have done a lot worse. You're a miracle. That was all that came of it. Derek pushed off the ground and got back on his feet. He brushed some dirt off and took his phone out. He got a picture of himself giving a thumbs up in front of the concrete slab. The solemn air around him vanished.
Okay.
I'm gonna text this to Cove. Wait, I want to be in that picture too. Oh, sure. You held your hand out in the air above the markings, and Derek went with another thumbs up, and he snapped the picture. Now it's perfect. Yeah. You caught Derek's gaze wandering off again. He hummed thoughtfully, and you followed his eye line to the local store across the street.
Oh, man.
I just remembered I'm still low on groceries. We could journey over there. We could, but I'm worried things could go bad on the drive back to the apartment. Plus, it's been a super long day already. How about we pick up something up for dinner and save the shopping for tomorrow? My treat. Sounds like a rock solid plan to me. Awesome. Think about what you're in mood for, and let's get going. Together, you eagerly went back to the way you came. This time you got to the car, drove out of Sunset Bird once more. Derek ordered from your preferred drive-through and temporarily parked in the shade to pass out the goods. He handed your drink and folded a paper bag with your food. You dug in immediately. Derek's ride was nice and still had a new car smell, but he had no problem with people eating in it. He shared his philosophy of the inevitably that lived in stuff is going to get dirty. He wasn't going to get mad about normal wear and tear. With a big family of busy boys and inability to keep things pristine certainly must have been unavoidable fact of life for Derek. You and him enjoyed the meal. It was long finished when he pulled into his apartment's designated parking slot. With sunset dimmed down to inky blackness, it was hard to see. Derek switched on his interior car light as you gather up the trash in bags that dinner had come in. He led the way to his place, key in hand, unlocked his door. Derek held it open for you instead of going through. You could have told someone he'd do that before it ever happened. That was second nature to Derek. You took a few steps and flicked out the front light switch. Derek came in second and closed the door behind him.
Phew!
He walked further into his living room and flopped down on his couch. That was a successful day. A long, successful day. I feel like you've already been here a week and you got here this morning. It was such a nice time. Yeah. Derek leaned his head back as he thought. Tomorrow's going to be busy too. He raised his hand and counted each of the planned activities with a finger. Groceries, taking the bros out, and then Father's Day thing. I also want to get something gift-wise for Father's Day. So, added that to the list. I want to get your dad something for the holiday. Again, Father's Day is not a holiday. It's just another day of recognizing fathers.
I'm impressed.
You're so nice. We can find something when we're out shopping, I bet. Yeah, I like that idea. Thanks. Derek blinked sleepily, sinking further into the couch. He looked cozy. He shook himself and suddenly clapped his hands together. But hey, you probably want to shower and settle in for real before it gets even later. He grabbed the back of the couch and curled himself to his feet.
No worries.
We can always work on the schedule when we're not sweaty and exhausted. Sounds like a plan to me. See you soon then. Derek waved you off as you returned to the guest room. You got out your stuff and put your toiletries in the bathroom and showered. Tried to be quick and were soon in your pajamas, winding down for the night. Once again, you were back in your room. You plugged in your phone charger and unpacked tomorrow's clothes. A knock rattled your door. Can I come in? Of course. Why not? Yeah.
Thanks.
Derek accepted your invitation and shut the door behind him after he walked in. Sup, handsome man? Hey. You sat on the bed and patted the spot next to you. You shut your suitcase and climbed on the edge of the bed, and you scooted to the corner, leaving room for Derek-sized person to sit down. Derek stood in the corner of the room, not getting the hint until you gestured at empty space beside you.
Oh!
He stood forward, helping onto the mattress. The bed bounced beneath you. He grinned boyishly at you. Everything good in here? It is. Thanks for asking. Yeah, of course. I'm glad it's going well. Derek stretched his arms above his head and yawned. Despite his sleeplessness, he remained upbeat. Rather than seeming done with the conversation, he appeared to be mulling over probably what to say next. He wasn't being responsible and going to bed early. You didn't mind. This was your first day having gotten together, and there was no need to rush its end. A spark came to his eyes. Inspiration is streaking him. He instinctively leaned closer to you, bringing your faces almost nose to nose. Chippy, while you're here, we should go to a water park. There's one a ways away, but it'd be so worth it. He eagerly continued to lay out his thought process.
Oh, man!
We haven't done something like that since the boardwalk. Man, that was ages ago. And our families were there. If we tried it, we could keep it just you and me. Obviously, there is not a chance tomorrow, so how about the day after that? We could get there first thing, spend the afternoon together, and get going before it gets late. paused and took a hopeful breath. All of his attention focused on your reaction. So, what do you think? I'd love to go. It sounded like a lot of fun. You remembered how much Derek had talked up water parks before had talked about water parks before. Going to a water park would be such a fantastic thing to do.
All right. Wait.
Well, wait a second. His eyes went wide as it dawned on him. Would that be a date? I'm asking you on a date? Am I asking you? Of course. That's kind of up to you, I'd say. The realization hit him hard. Derek's teeth clenched, and he leaned back and tried to process. Oh, hold on. He held his hands in the air in front of you, frantically gestured for you to stay. I gotta do something, but I'll be right back. Please. Well, you know. He laughed. He launched himself off the bed and across the floor and fled the room before you could blink. You stayed put, but not sure what else to do. Derek should be okay, hopefully. Confusion was your main emotion. Derek unwillingly asked you on a date and then ran off. You waited in silence, occasionally tapping your foot, and had been about a minute until your phone rang. You couldn't help but chuckle at the observed timing of the interruption. You glanced at your phone on the side table, then cranked your neck to see Derek was anywhere to be found. Derek wasn't in the hall. You went over to your phone and picked it up. You didn't plan on answering, but you want to see who in the world needed to ring right at that moment. The name on the lit up by your caller ID was Derek. What? You paused, doing nothing but staring at the jingling device in your palm. Then you slid your finger over the screen to answer. Hey there, what's going on? Derek chuckled. You could hear the nervousness in his voice, even though the slight distortion from the phone.
Hello.
Hello, this is Derek Suarez. You're on my mind, and I want to see you, and so I'm calling to ask you if you agree to go on a date on Monday. You instantly laughed, loudly but affectionately. Why did you have to call to ask me that? People arrange dates in person all the time. Derek hesitated before responding, then he replied soft and shy. Well, if you want the truth, since I was finally asking you out for real, I felt like I owed it to my younger self to do it over the phone. That only gave you more questions. You waited for him to continue. His voice quieted to almost a whisper. There were, over the years, I've thought about you a lot. You've never been forgettable.
I missed you.
No matter how busy I was, I'd still remember how great it was hanging out. I missed you. and I'd hype myself up, tell myself to pick up the stupid phone and ask you out. It would have been, it wouldn't be the end of the world if you didn't want to, and hey, maybe it would work out. I'd march over to the phone, but put it to my ear and my fingers on the buttons, and then nothing. I'd put it back down with a sigh and think about how I didn't really have the time, and you were probably busy and you wouldn't want to date me anyway. This time I did it. I really called you and I said what I wanted to say. I'm gonna go with the first one. I wouldn't have said no if you had asked. You would have treasured hearing from him, and going out would have been wonderful. You had missed him too. Derek laughed a short, uncontrollable sound. Thanks. Sucks even more that I didn't do it, but I'd still rather hear I missed the chance than it was destined for failure. Destined for failure. Excuse me. No one spoke, and the awkwardness began to pressure on you. But Derek brightened his voice, unwilling to let it linger any longer. Well, it's late. I shouldn't keep you up. I'll see you tomorrow, bright and early. We should plan to leave the apartment around 8 for shopping. Everything's close enough that we can walk, if that's all right. Okay,
Good night.
great. Good night, Chippy. Good night, Derek. You heard a beep and the call ended. You put your phone back on the table in your empty room. After all of what you had earned, your enthusiasm, you were at your limit. Too sleepy to do anything else, you flicked the light switch and went straight to bed. You woke up the next morning to an unfamiliar but awful, uncomfortable bed. The sheets smelled of unknown laundry detergent. Okay, I'm gonna be right back. You woke up the next morning to. Okay, I already read that part. Sorry, I'm back. You slowly absorbed your surroundings. This was Derek's place, wasn't it? And you were on a schedule. You groaned and rolled over to check the clock on the side table. You had woken up in playing time. You stepped out of bed and casually got yourself ready. Soon you wandered into the living room, your mind drifting back to what Derek had said last night. It was heavily admission from him, his lack of confidence to reach out to you. You didn't want to dwell on it. It was a big day for the entire Suarez family, and you didn't want to rain on their parade just because you were aware that it used to flood in the past. Derek would bring it up if he wanted to talk more about it, but until then, you let it lie. The man on your mind was nowhere to be seen when you left the hall, but you did notice a note sitting on the kitchen counter. You checked the message. Derek wanted to let you know that he had gone down to the gym in the apartment complex. You read the rest of the out loud to yourself. So that's where I'll be if you don't see me. I'll be back at around 7:30. Thanks, Derek. You smiled at his consideration. You could have texted. He could have texted you, but had probably worried about disturbing you. Making physical notes was an old habit of his. You checked your phone and it was 7 a.m. You had 30 minutes to fill. You read on your phone? You read on your phone, I guess. Luckily, you knew exactly how to entertain yourself. You took a seat on the couch and unlocked your phone. You opened it back up to a story you'd been reading earlier and jumped back into it. Exactly 7:30, Derek returned. A gym bag was slung over his shoulder. He appeared to have had a strenuous workout by the sheen of sweat on his skin.
Morning.
Morning, Chippy. What you up to? Good morning, Derek. I'm reading. Cool. I was at the gym. I know, I found your note.
Awesome.
Perfect. That's what it's for. He started to laugh, and you joined in. It was nice to have him back. Derek took a quick shower, and you two left the apartment to run your errands before the day could start in earnest. Derek picked the most direct path to the nearby grocery store around you. The city bustled as people tried to get to work. Cars lined the streets and people hurried into various buildings. This almost looks like the same store from our Sunset Bird movements, almost. No, maybe not quite. It took approximately 10 minutes to reach the automatic doors of the store and step into the air conditioning. Various displays tried to sell you on Father's Day deals. There wasn't much about it that set this one apart from the one in your old town. Yeah, it does kind of look like the one in our Sunset Bird. You're probably gonna need a cart. We're probably gonna need your cart. He pulled one out with a smooth movement. It had a slightly squeaky wheel.
Let's get to it.
There. We're ready to go. He leaned over the handle like he was at the start of a kart race, wanting the shot to go off. Waiting for the shot to go off. So, what protein do you want? It was good question. At that point in your life, you were still not a picky eater. I mean, in reality, I'm not a picky eater anyway. Not picky and almost sneaky. Yeah. That was something Derek was already aware of, but he couldn't make an entire meal plan for you. We can start cooking at home for some of your meals, though a lot of what we'll eat today will probably be from my parents' house or restaurants. I'd say we'll only need 2 or 3 packs of things.
What do you think?
I'm thinking chicken, sausage, and eggs. But you can get something else. Want to make sure there's stuff you want to eat. You inspected your surroundings and thought about what you wanted. Beef, bacon, shrimp, how about what Derek suggested too? That'll work. Great.
All right.
Alright, let's also grab some good vegetables to go with that. And some rice or whatever. Sounds good. let's get a jug of lemonade too. Derek brightened and bounced on the balls of his feet.
I'm impressed.
You're a genius. Better than that. You're an expert on me, specifically. Excuse me.
So,
Oh, what are you thinking of getting for a gift? You considered your options and needed to be easy to transport. Something that could go bad probably wouldn't be the best choice. You thought about what Derek's dad would appreciate. You went for. How about a bottle of cologne? Something you can use anyway. Cool. You begin your busy. You begin your very purposeful browsing. Derek speed walked with the cart. He kept things moving, but wasn't rushing you either. It was nearly leisurely as when you'd first shopped with him. Neither of you were in a rush and appreciated the company. However, as adults, the atmosphere between you was markedly different. Before, you had investigated the store as if you shelf could hold buried treasure. Now the items took little attention and you spent more energy absorbing each other's presence. Grocery shopping was more of a chore and less of an experience. However, even chores weren't bad with Derek. You both debated brands, helped spot elusive items, and encouraged each other to get what you wanted. If one of you hesitated over something, the other would compel the other to treat themselves. Mutual decisions were praised for the good taste, and strange selections were jokingly critiqued. It was the best visited to the grocery store you had in ages. After getting goods, you went through the self-checkout to pay for it all. Derek scanned you and begged until everything was put away and paid for. The first part of the shopping trip was over. Now you had to carry it all back on foot. Derek loaded himself up with supplies eagerly. Do you normally carry your groceries like this?
yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather do it this way than drive. Indeed, you saw no struggling from Derek. It occurred to you that this was second workout and it wasn't even 9 o'clock yet. He continued to grab the bags without asking you to help. It soon became obvious that he intended to carry all of them. You hurried and snatched a few bags before he could. You couldn't let him get away with such a scheme. Oh well, thank you. No problem. I'm gonna go ahead and stop it there. I'm gonna save it and stop there because it's been a long moment, and we've already done a lot already anyway. So let's go ahead and save it. We'll save it right there. So until next time, thanks again for watching on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button for those of you who haven't subscribed already. And don't forget to check out my Patreon account and please become a Patreon contributing member. I brought some of the prices down on 2 of the tiers. I brought 2 of them down. I brought one of them down to $5 instead of $9, and the one that was $25, I brought it down to $10. That's per month, of course, when you become a member. For those of you who can become a member, I appreciate it. Remember, the funds that go in there, the membership funds that go in there, go directly to a charity, a worthy charity. I don't see a penny of it. Like I always tell you, I don't see a penny of it. It just goes directly to a worthy charity that I choose from. So I'm gonna go ahead and quit that, and we'll stop recording, and we'll see you later.